The collapse of the Cuban grid, a deep dive on February 5, 2026. Darkness didn't just fall over Santiago de Cuba. It suffocated it. For 26 agonizing hours, the island's second largest city and its 400,000 inhabitants ceased to function. At the height of the blackout, nearly two-thirds of the entire national grid evaporated, plunging millions into a pre-industrial void. The Antonio Guterres plant, a titan of Cuban energy, didn't just trip. It died, erasing 200 megawatts from existence in a heartbeat. Back in January, satellite tracking data warned that the hourglass held maybe 3 weeks of sand left at current burn rates. That time is up. We are no longer looking at a schedule of managed blackouts. We are staring down the barrel of a permanent nationwide system failure. When the voltage dies, civilization's basic machinery stops. No water, no cold storage, no life support, and no way to move fuel. The government has effectively canceled the work week, slashing it to 4 days, shuttering classrooms and grounding travel. These aren't just energy-saving tips. They are actions of a state entering a coma to preserve its last vital organs. But even that is a losing battle. In Artemisa and Havana, taps have run dry for over 80% of the population because the electric pulse to pump water is gone. Millions are trapped in a sweltering deadlock, unable to cook, clean, or flush away the filth that breeds disease. The collapse of the grid has turned the healthcare system into a triage center for the dying. The Ministry of Public Health has confirmed that operating rooms are going dark. You cannot perform open-heart surgery when power might vanish mid-incision, so the sick are sent home to wait. Pharmacies are bare, lacking painkillers and antibiotics, while temperature-sensitive drugs spoil in warm refrigerators. This is happening amidst a biological storm, a triple threat of dengue, Oropouche virus, and chickenpox. In a single week, dozens have perished, and the state's answer is to offer herbal syrups made of oregano and aloe vera. They call it innovation. History calls it desperation. When a hospital hands you a plant extract instead of penicillin, it's because the modern world has left the building. Market shelves in Havana tell a story of mathematical impossibility. A simple sack of beans or a few pounds of potatoes now costs a fortune that doesn't exist in the average wallet. When a doctor's entire monthly salary, barely $16, cannot purchase a month's supply of rice and toothpaste, the social contract has been incinerated. This is the brutal calculus we analyze here on The Secret History of Currencies. Maximum pressure doesn't just squeeze a regime. It crushes the people, driving nearly 20% to flee the island. President Diaz-Canel is walking a razor's edge, offering dialogue to Washington while clinging to the homeland or death mantra. He paints this starvation as a siege, a test of revolutionary steel against imperial aggression. Meanwhile, signals from the White House are a chaotic static. President Trump hints at a grand bargain, a deal in the works. Yet insiders paint a darker picture, total diplomatic silence. There are whispers that Secretary Rubio is actively sabotaging any off-ramp, preferring to watch the regime suffocate. The regime refuses to beg. Washington sends mixed signals, and allies like Russia and China offer words but little oil. We are standing at a precipice, and the next 30 days will decide which reality Cuba falls into. Let's map the terrain. First, the soft landing. A negotiated surrender where tariffs lift in exchange for prisoners and liberalization. A win for Trump's survival for Havana? But hardliners on both sides hate this. Second, the zombie state. Just enough aid from allies to keep the patient breathing but comatose. Misery becomes the baseline, a permanent version of the 1990s crisis but without the hope of recovery. Third, the shattering, the fuel runs dry, the lights never come back, and the regime's checkbook bounces. When you can't feed the soldiers guarding the palace, loyalty evaporates, leading to a coup or total anarchy. Fourth, the naval siege. Washington decides to physically block the oil, turning an economic stranglehold into an act of war. And finally, the great power gamble, where Russia or China physically break that blockade. It's unlikely, but in this climate, nothing is impossible. This crisis proves a brutal economic truth we often discuss on The Secret History of Currencies. An economy built on the charity of a patron is a ticking time bomb. For decades, Venezuelan oil was the narcotic that numbed Cuba to the need for reform. Why build solar panels or fix farms when black gold flows for free? Now the dealer is gone and the withdrawal symptoms are terminal. Subsidies don't just ease pain. They atrophy the muscles needed to survive. Moscow and Beijing offer thoughts and prayers, maybe a tanker or two, but they won't risk World War III for Havana. So 11 million souls wait in the heat and the dark. The clock that started ticking in January has stopped. We are now in uncharted territory. The evidence is mounting, the lights are fading, and the geopolitical chess match is entering its endgame.